All right, guys. So we'll be talking about proposal writing. Now, we're looking at it as a whole. So, for those who may ask, what is proposal writing? Um, Proposal entails developing a document with the intent to secure a new business, to win a contract, and other types of funding that you apply your submit proposals for. Because of this study, you will be hearing words like bids, tenders, proposals. They are used most times interchangeably. So you may hear me sometimes call it bid writing, you may hear me call it proposal writing or tender. Now, this involves a lot, ranging from understanding the client's requirement, collaboration with stakeholders, research, content development, information gathering, reviews and compliance, then submission. So I'll quickly take that again. So before proposal writing, the whole process involves in this is there's the understanding of the client's requirement, there's the collaboration with stakeholders, there's the research part of it, there's the content development, there's information gathering, there's review and compliance check, and then there's submission. So that's how I've grouped it in terms of the activities and the levels to what happens when you're writing a proposal. Now, proposal is a part of proposal or bid writing is a part of the wider business development concept. So when you hear people say business development, just as a word, literal meaning is to put your business well, to make you more attractive, to make you win bids, win contracts, win jobs, earn more, do better, just how to develop the business. Now, you cannot develop a business without, if you're a contractor, without doing jobs. So it's all about winning contracts, positioning yourself properly, doing the right things, giving yourself that advantage, that edge over the next person. So, in just like in-house preparation, there's also the outside preparation. So, typically, proposal writing and bid writing is part of the wider business development concept as it has pre-proposal writing activities and post-proposal writing activities. Now, the pre-proposal means those are the things you're supposed to do before you even start thinking of writing a proposal. We also have the post-proposal activities, those things you do after you must have submitted your proposal. This means that there are activities that take place. Sorry, no. So we're going straight to the proposal writing activities. These are activities and tasks that occur before proposal or the bid writing. So these are all the activities we want to talk about now. Pre-proposal activities. Activities happen before. Now remember, how you'll be hearing me say things like depending on the size of the company, depending on the nature of the project, and depending on the sector and industry requirement. So for you who is doing a small task, it may just be come and submit code. So you'll be wondering, so what's this man saying about proposal? But when you want to do that same job you're doing in a bigger scale, they'll start asking you for lots of things. You submit a proposal, tell them how you're going to execute the job and all that. So it makes it more formal and corporate. So it's the same thing, but in a smaller. That's why I will always be here. You will hear me say things like depending on the size of the company, depending on the nature of the project, and then depending on the sector requirement. So these activities are doing market research. Remember, we're talking about activities before the proposal writing, setting up your company policy and procedure, getting the right accreditations and permits, insurances and standards, and other statutory documentation. Some of you may have been hearing about these things, but if you want to say, what is it? What is it exactly? We're going to go into that later on. Now, we've talked about pre-proposal activity. Let's go to straight to post-proposal. Post-proposal activities. Usually, the process does not end at submitting your proposal. That's not where it ends. We have a few activities highlighted below that occur after the submission of proposal. We have things like call for clarification. They may call you to say, okay, we've seen your quotation. Can you tell us why this, why that, why that? There's also evaluation and review, which happens from the other end, but you may be called upon time to time. There's also the negotiation and bargaining. They may look at what you've submitted and they like, they're okay with the number of days, they're okay with the method you want to use, they're okay with the chemicals listed, they're okay with every other thing, and your strategy and your methodology or method statement as it is called. Then they call you to negotiate and bargain to say, okay, we like every other thing, but your pricing. So that can also happen after submitting proposal. Then there's follow up and tracking. That's from your own end, how to follow up, how to track. There's filing and closure. So you're done with submitting the proposal. What do? You file it. You have a copy for yourself, so that if they call you, you have something to you need to always align with what you've submitted, so that you don't go and start looking for your package. And it's also good for learning purposes. Also good for filing, for reference, for lots of things. So you keep it handy. Then you have your lessons learned. Now lessons learned, it could be formal, it could be informal, it could just be it could just be a conversation between you and someone. But we advise people to make this as formal as possible, so that it can always become a learning curve for the next project. So it is important to establish that there are activities around proposal writing. That's what we just did, the pre and the post. So it's important to establish that. So when you go somewhere and someone is asking you about a few things, you show that you're not lost. So we're trying to give you the global picture. But for the purpose of this study, we shall be focusing on the proposal writing itself. Now, writing the main proposal. We write the proposal for the purpose of securing approval to carry out a project, a task, or an idea to a client or management within an organization. So you could be writing within your organization, you could be writing to a company, you could be writing to a client, different ways. But the whole idea is to secure approval. That's why you're writing the proposal. Now, when to write proposals? Now, we write proposals one in response to an invitation, which you usually hear ITT, invitation to tender. So when you hear tender, bids, proposals, they are all similar words that can be used interchangeably. So in some cases, you write in response to an invitation as a contractor or supplier or vendor, whatever they call you, etc., who is responding to a private or public invitation to render services to companies, to individuals, or to government. So you're registered on a certain portal, and a lot of contractors register on portals. So as a client, I come there, I sample his job and invite people to come and tender for it. So I can do that as a client. Government can also do that too. So it happens that way. So that's one of the areas where people respond to. Then the second area is procedural. This happens in maybe education, public sector, as a laid down procedure for all to follow. It could be like an application, you want to use a certain thing, or you need a certain stuff from council, from the government, from individual. Those okay. Before you do that, you write a proposal. We look at it. So those are procedural. It's just whether you do or not. But the first one is in response to a certain invitation. It comes only when there's a need for a service. While this number two is procedural, maybe it gets to that time of the year where there is to do this, or it gets to that time of the season. Now, there's also the special request type, where you're requesting for funding for your business, for your event, or others. So those type of proposals come on special request. So it's not open. So these are the reasons why all the causes for proposals to be initiated. Now we said we classify the proposal writing into two. We have the guided or the structured response style. Then we have the open response style. Now, the guided response is the type where the clients develop documents and send to you. Some of them come like questionnaires, in 50 words, write this in 100 words, write that. Here, number one, submit your account statement. Number two, submit your incorporation document. Number three, your financial policies. Number four, do you have public liability, public insurance up to a social amount? So the structure is such that they want to receive what they want to receive. Because if they allow us, we're going to send them 100 documents, 200 documents without saying what they want to hear. So with that, they've fine-tuned it to what they want to see. So it's easy for them to assess you because they've given you people a pattern. But imagine the open response style where some people just say, okay, we're not too sure of what the job is like. Is anybody that can come and show us what will fit into this place? So in such cases, maybe just open, and the person with the best idea maybe can win, or person with the cheapest, whatever. But with this other one where the client knows what he wants or what she wants, and has developed documents, drawings to execute the project and calls. In cases like that, there is another process that has gone down before that one. So where the architects are called upon to give a proper drawing, so they take it and now come to the builders to execute, which is you and I as contractors, for example. So that time the client already knows what he wants. He wants you to tell him how you execute this project. So the response has to be guided and structured so that he can evaluate everybody properly and know who is giving him the best. So imagine him just say, come and build a house. Different. Some people will bring their 10 jobs they've done before, which are building of poultry, building of farm. And the client will be like, no, but we did. So that's why the client wants you to, he tells you what he wants, what he wants. So that's a guided response style. Now, we're going to go straight to, so I've talked about open response. So the open response is commonly used in a non-competitive environment too, where individuals or organizations present a business idea. So under the open response, you also have where they do this event where they tell people to bring ideas for funding and all that. So that can also happen. It solely depends on what to the extent the writer wishes to capture information enough to convey their message. So we said sorry. Now, so we'll go straight to writing the proposal. Now, the proposal is written because an invitation has been sent to you, like we said earlier, either directly or openly, because an idea has been conceived by the client. So, invitation is sent. It could be openly, it could be directly, it could be through someone. Sometimes it comes that way. Now, these are usually classified as market opportunities. So you hear people say opportunities, which means where are the jobs coming from and all that. So you see, then they say you most likely see bid opportunities via the following. Now, how do you see these opportunities? It depends. It could be online portals. Some of these portals are free to register, some pay little change to register. So that's where the jobs are being sampled. Now, there are government sites where public sector contracts are posted. We also have third party portals for the jobs too. So the government portals are the contract finder, find the contract, and all that stuff. Then also have private third party portals too. Some proactive and the response of them for different areas. Then there's a direct invitation. In some cases, contractors or suppliers may get a direct request from individuals or companies to quote privately. So sometimes you could just check your email and you're lucky to see one client or an individual, could be a client, could be individual. If you're into the building sector, maintenance, you most likely be receiving requests from individuals because buildings are usually owned by individuals. But if you're into a real sector, energy, those kind of massive projects, you're likely going to be contacted by either another big client or government. So, but sometimes emails come like that. Oh, there's this bid, I'd like you to go and participate. Sometimes if the service is a specialist service that only one or two people do, then sometimes the bidding process may be off the table. They're just trying to say, we need your special services on this. Can you quote? So the invitations can come direct to you too. Then there's also boards. Those days, this is gradually fading out in some climes. Those days there used to be boards where you go there every first of this month or last day of the month, whatever process they do in that country or in that clime. It means the job adverts are usually put out, the contracts are usually put out there. You go see a copy or request for a copy, pay for a copy, a pack, and they give you, you go back home, prepare it, pack documents, go and submit. Those days, after something, when you submit your proposal, it used to be in paper form, but these days everything is done online. So, how beautiful it is. Then there's also the media. The use of TV, radio, and newspaper to advertise contract is also becoming extinct. That also going away. So we have online portals, we have direct invitation, which still happens. We have boards, which is fading away. Those boards you see outside. Media, which is also fading away. So we shall be considering bid and proposal writing in the project environment only. So we have project in proposal writing for funding, to business plan, developing business plan, funding idea. We're going to talk about that in another series. But this series, I just want to be talking about project, how to in the project environment, how to win contracts and jobs in the project environment. So the proposal for business support and funding applications will come in another series. So receiving the bid. Now this will come in via the means previously described above, either their portal or your email. We open the package and we perform the first review. That first review helps you know, is it the kind of job for me or not? So imagine you're into plumbing and somebody, maybe they didn't know, or the name of your company somehow, and somebody sends you a message to say, oh, can you, our doors are bad, can you come fix it? So the moment you look at the job and you see, oh, this is carpentry, it's not for me, you push it aside. That's what the first review does for you. Now, if it's a plumbing job, first if you can say, oh, go, it's a plumbing job, good, good, good. You open the pack, you start reading. That's second level review, where you start checking to see. Sometimes at that point you may decide to decline. So sometimes at that point you may decide to decline when you're doing second level review, where you have seen that yes, it is a job in your area of specialization, but maybe the scope is bigger, the requirements are bigger, it's much more complex than you can still at that point decline. But if at that point you have measured the scope, you have seen everything is for you, then you now go to the third level, start checking the requirements, the compliance checks and all that. So before we said so, upon review, we establish the following: the details about the project. So like I said earlier, the details about the project will help you know if it's the type of project for you or not. Then the requirements and eligibility. Is it my size? Is it? Then you now carry out the bid no bid decision, where you now say, should I bid or should I no bid? So these are the three major steps involved in the first review. Now, writing the proposal. Once the review is complete and there is a decision to go ahead to submit a proposal, then our proposal writing activity kicks off immediately. So this is where the main body of the proposal writing starts. So all this other one we're doing, we're just trying to be sure that we want to submit a proposal. Now, the output and the information gathered from this early review becomes very vital in writing the proposal, because with these details, you've known that it is a small job. With these details, you know that it is a job in a skyscraper. With these details, you know that it is a job on the ground floor. With these details, you know that it's a job in a restricted area. So all those information will help you plan the job properly. Since it's a restricted area, I can only work in the evening. So what I will do is this. Since it's a high-rise building, we must go with skyscraper or what. Since it's so, the details you gather there will help you know how to plan and write your proposal. Also, and how to cost it, what resources to use, and all of that. So, what information is gathered in this phase determines how your proposal will go. So, like I usually say, failure or success starts from here. It starts from that point. So, you're going to fail, you start from there. Now, a win strategy is adopted for the proposal to follow. Like I said, so you should develop your strategy. Okay, how do I write this? Knowing that I'll pass this way, pass that way, knowing that it is this type of client that does not like nonsense, knowing that is this client, they want their focus is more on safety, so they are willing to pay any. So that means I can give them my cost. Okay, knowing with this, I need to use instead of two cranes, I'll use three for safety purpose. I'll use this. So all the strategy you develop is based on the information you have gathered about the client, the project, the environment, the nature of the job. So this is important as it gives clear direction to all stakeholders and SMEs, that subject matter experts, on how, where, when, and what we want to say, or what we want to say to our client. Yeah. So a few activities may take place before this stage, depending on the scope of the proposal, such as kickoff meetings. Now, those things I mentioned that looks very simple, it all depends again, like I always say, the size of the company, the nature of the project, and the sector, the industry. So, in some big organizations that pursue big jobs, these things are not just a one man sit down and do it all kind of thing. There's usually a kickoff meeting where people sit down, analyze the bid, and say, okay, well, I think we can go for this one. Then after that, you develop the responsibility matrix where you share the task. Who is going to handle the costing? Oh, the finance guys and the cost estimators. Who is going to handle the legal part? You send the document to the legal team to help you review the contract. Who is going to? That's where you develop a responsibility matrix. Then you do your bid, no bid decision. Like I said earlier, you get the requirement list. So all these things together is what will form how you write your proposal. So we've talked about the overview of the whole process of writing. Now we'll go proper into each of these things that we talked about and see how to develop a standard proposal. See you in the next one. Thank you.